Hello, and welcome again to Alpha Praxis. Today, I'd like to speak to you about something that I think is very endemic of our culture, and something I think almost everyone can relate to. It's the problem of our society becoming a very selfish society, one in which we all see ourselves as the center of the universe, and our self-expression, our self-feelings, and our self-motivations are the primary focus of our existence. And this is something I think is truly tearing at the fabric of our culture. At Alpha Praxis, what I'm trying to do is discuss issues that are current to our society in the moment. Things that are political, social, economic, religious, and all around part of our daily lives. Something that hopefully you will take away, that you'll be able to gain, if not change something, at least get a priority understanding of its effect on maybe you or the ones around you. And hopefully, through the understanding of this, we can maybe learn to change and become a better society, one person at a time. That's our hope. And with all my heart, I would love to see that happen. I don't have any lofty high expectations. I don't have any fanciful dreams. I just hope that through my rendition of the perception of our society, we can take something away and see it through a different light that maybe we haven't been able to quantify in a distilled nature to where we understand what's going on. So getting to the topic at hand, what's going on in our society is what I believe through the invent of social media, the internet, our connectivity, our massive flash flood of information constantly being beamed into us through all forms of media, whether it's on your computer, your phone, your iPad, your laptop. We're constantly inundated with things that subconsciously are making us feel as though our priorities are paramount among everyone else's. There is nothing wrong with having an interest in your self-desires. That's not at all what the issue is. The issue is when you take on a persona in which you believe that your concerns trump those of others around you, especially those that you care about. These issues become something that becomes so ingrained in us that we don't even realize they're occurring. We slowly begin to corrode ourselves into the understanding that we are the center of the universe, that my truth, my feelings, my interests, my desires, my growth, my everything trumps anything of anyone else around us. And if anyone tries to intercede or express their problems or concerns with our behavior, we shut down, we close down, and we push them away, which ends up just hurting the people we love. And that's the problem. We truly don't feel that way. Deep down inside, every person feels empathy. There's no way, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath, that you don't feel empathy. Everyone does. Everyone feels it. Everyone knows when they hurt someone. Everyone knows when they make someone feel bad. And to some degree, maybe some lesser than others, you feel a little bit of angst about it. And you know that on a certain level, what you did wasn't 100% right. So what we need to do is understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we can possibly change what we're doing. Because whether it's being done to you, or someone is doing it to someone else, or you're doing it, we need to be able to self-identify, because that's one of the hardest things as a human that we need to learn to understand, is self-reflection. Far too often, we drive ourselves into the mindset of, I'm right, you're wrong, there's no doubt about it, I'm set in my ways, I know what I'm doing, I know what I know, and you're wrong, so just leave me alone. There is a point to that. There are times where that is correct. There are times where your ideals will not match someone else's. That is life. We don't all get along. We don't all agree. It never will be different. We will always have conflict. But the difference is in the micro of this. We need to learn how to understand where we're being selfish, where we're being self-absorbed, where we're being so self-motivated that we're shutting out the people that can actually help us develop in our lives. But instead of allowing them to help us, we're shutting them down and pushing them away. And that's the problem. No one can live in a complete, isolated microcosm of an existence where they don't rely on anybody. Everybody needs somebody. You need somebody to help you get food. You need somebody to help you get water. You need somebody to help you get electricity. You need somebody to help you get fuel. You need somebody to help you get a vehicle. You need somebody to help you get a house. We all rely on people, no matter whether it's somebody that's close or somebody that's just a one-off. We need to learn that through these human relationships, we ourselves can become growing and better in our own personal existence. And instead of the selfishness of, I want me, I need this, we can learn that I can achieve those things through a more effective route while also providing respect and kindness and understanding to others without being a person that seems as though all they care about is themselves. A lot of this began, as I said, with the invention of our connected universe, the internet. We started getting all of this information that started being pumped into us of wealth, of money, success, power. And we started all being driven towards it. And that's something that is natural. All humans strive, usually, to want to be successful. We all want the best for ourselves. We all want to be looked at as somebody that made it. They're secure, they're happy, they've got the great family, they've got the great life, they're working out all the time, and they've got a great body, they're on top of their game. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're not doing it at the expense of the people around you. And that's the concern. The internet has created a situation where we have started to isolate ourselves because we have created this false reality that the internet is real, that the people on the other side of that screen are real, that they care, that they actually give 2 cents about anything that you do. No matter what comments they leave, no matter what they say, no matter how much they lavish upon you, they really don't care. Get sick, go into the hospital and see how many of them really care. They won't be showing up. They won't be sending you flowers. They'll be on to another podcast. They'll be on to another person. They'll be into somebody else. They won't even know your name. People are small in nature, meaning we need to create a collective, a reality around us that isn't built upon a false reality. And this false reality is giving us this belief that we have this support system that isn't real. Those people online do not support you. They may enjoy you. They may enjoy your content. They may care about you. You may have Facebook friends that you interact with. But in reality, it's those real, living, breathing people around you that matter. And selfishness creates a barrier for those people that are close to you to actually support you and care about you without being hurt. When the internet came about, before it, people had to build relationships and their cliques and their groups and their subgroups based upon their behavior, their actions. If someone was selfish, nobody liked them and they were ostracized. And that's what curbed selfishness, because people saw that it wasn't something that gained you friends or attention. But now, through the invention of the internet, people can feel this false sense of pride that it's not real, it's synthetic. It gives you dopamine hits, but it doesn't give you real affection. Real affection comes through those people that are around you. And until you realize that you need to understand that there's nothing wrong with having goals and setting those and working hard to achieve them, you need to allow those people around you to also be able to put their interest into you. And there's a give and take in that. There is okay, this is what I want for my goal, and this is what they want for their goal. And these two intersect. So how do we come to an agreement where we're both satisfied with the outcome? And that's what we don't do. We butt heads, and then we war against each other until we won't talk, and we just throw our hands up and say, you know what, do whatever you want. And there's nothing positive about that. That's a sign of a person that's acting like a child and isn't functioning in a way that's indicative of somebody that actually is a successful person. Successful people know how to build interpersonal relationships. Successful people know how to have a give and take. Successful people know how to compromise, because that's what life is. Life is always a compromise. You will never always get your way, and the other person will not always get their way. It's learning how to engage in a civil discussion to figure out a solution that works best for both of you, whether it's in your husband and wife, parents and their kids, good friends, family and friends, family and siblings. Everyone needs to learn how to interact in a better way to where we're not just pushing each other away, and instead of Christmas dinner being 75 people, it's 3. Because that's what's happening to our world. We're becoming so isolated from one another because we don't want to put up with someone else's infringement upon our desires. And that's creating a divide that will continue unless we start learning that our interpersonal relationships are far more important and will probably be far more valuable to our success than a detriment. So when you have an instance where you come to an impasse with your siblings or your relatives or your spouse, instead of just jumping to your emotional go-to of the self, try to stop and think it through and think, is this worth creating a problem for this other person? Is it worth hurting the other person? Is it worth my success making this other person feel ostracized and hurt? Or is it worth finding a compromise where they then can see my interest and my goals and feeling so caring and loving towards me because I worked out a compromise with them, that they're now on my side and want to help me achieve those goals? Because that's how you build people around you that will lift you up and bring you to a point of success that you won't achieve alone. You can't do it alone. No matter what you think, no matter what the internet has told you, no matter what your Facebook friends have told you, no matter what Snapchat has told you, you need to do it yourself with the people around you. And that's your start. You can't build a house without a good foundation. And unless you have that good foundation, that house will crumble. And when it crumbles bad. And everyone that doesn't build that foundation will crumble. And they do. You can look at thousands and thousands of them that have. The internet is littered with dead bodies of those who have failed and been cast aside and have nothing and are crushed and demoralized and depressed. It's sad because they never built a stable foundation for their house. Had they had that, they would have been able to fall back on those that actually care, love, and respect them and been lifted back up in the times of pain, hurt, despair, sorrow, and weakness. So instead of worrying always about me, myself, what I want, start thinking of, what do I need to do to build a solid foundation? Because I want to build an empire. And before I can build an empire, I need to lay down roads. I need to lay down systems that will keep this society locked in and surrounding me with happiness, joy, and pride, instead of resentment, disgust, and just unhappiness and actually hoping for my failure. Because that's what happens when you push people away and you treat them as though they're lesser because you have something you're interested in and they may not see it your way. What you end up doing is just hurting yourself in the long run. You may think in the moment that you're doing what you need to do to succeed, but it will not work out in the long run. You need to find a way to compromise and put yourself a little bit behind sometimes and realize that that is the building blocks of a big, bright future. Long before the internet, long before our society, many other societies knew this. That's how Rome, Egypt, the Ottoman Empire, all of these amazing societies were created because they believed in the leaders. They believed in those that were ahead of them. And those that were ahead of them, very few great societies have ever been led by tyrants. The tyrants always fell quick. They always were derided. They always were hated. And it usually ended up in mass tragedy for not only the tyrant, but for those around them. No one ever survives as a tyrant. Learn how to love as a compromising, caring person. It doesn't mean you have to be weak, powerless, and petty. It means you can be strong and confident and powerful, but also with power and strength comes care, respect, and responsibility. So if you want to be somebody that creates something massive and powerful and wonderful, then learn how to respect those that are around you first, because through that, it will grow out to be a broader development of what you truly want. And you will see that you will gain a introspect into a way of interacting that will show you things that you never thought would come from it. It's very natural to be selfish. We all have it in us. I am selfish. Everyone is selfish. I hate to admit it. I try not to be. I work against it as much as I can. But of course, I fall victim to it far too often than I'd like to admit. But I try to always stop and reflect on why I did it, how I did it, and who I hurt, and then try to fix it. Because I know in the end, nothing good comes from selfishness. The only thing that comes from it is your downfall in the end. And I can guarantee that's true. And you can look through history, and I promise you, you will see it time and time again. Those that have been selfish and self-absorbed have fallen, and fallen hard. So my point is, learn that our selfishness is a human nature. We all are selfish. None of us are above it, no matter who you are, whether you're a priest or a prisoner. We are all the same. We all have the same emotional states, some more strong than others, but no one is better. We all suffer from the same sins of being selfish and self-absorbed and believing that we have the right answer, we have the right idea, we are the ones that know best. Sometimes we have to step back and say, you know what? Maybe I don't have the best idea here. Maybe I need to listen to somebody else. Maybe they're giving me advice that might be good. Maybe what I'm being told is something that I should reflect on instead of just tossing it off, pushing the person away, and creating somebody that doesn't care about me anymore and won't be an ally in a time where I'll need it. So I hope that you leave this thinking a little bit more about your introspection when it comes to when you feel selfish, when you feel like your desire reigns true over somebody else's, especially when it's someone like your spouse or your son or your daughter or your mother or your father or your relatives or your friends. It's important to realize those are your foundation. That's where you're going to build your house. So make sure it's strong. Make sure that's solid. Because without that foundation, I guarantee that house will fall. Thank you again for watching Alpha Praxis. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know. We hope that you take something away from this and gain something from it. I don't have all the answers. I'm on this journey just like you. I'm hoping through my ability to hopefully distill some of this information to you, you'll get a better understanding of it. And I hope through my discussions with you that I too will learn more. And together we'll grow to become better people that we can all lift each other up and become a foundation that will build an amazing house upon.